After that, Lee Yong-hak takes a bus. While he was sitting in the bus, he was looking around the city and thinks that he needs to take a break, but before that he had to do something. Half a year ago, when the dungeons were left untouched, the 4th-tier demon dungeon, the Cemetery of Gamijin, opened in the middle of Seoul. It happened when some stupid rankers took so long in the dungeon. They intentionally prolonged the time because of they're thirsty for money, since killing more monsters can give them more money. Lee Yong-hak wants to solve this problem, but he doesn't want to involve himself, so he is in need of someone. He then thinks to Lee Ji-yoon and wants to make her his disciple. Lee Yong-hak messages Lee Ji-yoon and Sasi that he has a strange feeling about the dungeon from where he has been rescued. After that, he gets out of the bus and come in front of the International Players Association. He comes here to become a player, as he cannot be someone's teacher while he is a porter. As he enters the building, he saw a huge crowd of people and reporters surrounding a group of people. These people are higher class people. Some of them are the guild leaders of some famous guilds. The leader of Haeseong Guild and the co-leader of the Phoenix Guild is also present there. The reporters asked why all these powerful people are here at the Player Association, and if they are all gathered here to recruit any new player that has powerful constellation. Lee Yong-hak didn't bother to go there. He simply goes to the receptionist and tells her that he wants to take the player test. After that, by giving a look at the crowd, he goes into a room. Becoming a player is easier than you think. All you need to do is apply to the association for an exam. The exam shows how you perform by killing monsters. It's like a simulation of when you are in the dungeon. If you have a contract with a very strong constellation, it's likely that there will be a lot of people coming to scout you. And the person who is the reason of the commotion earlier is none other than this guy who signed a contract with a high-level constellation. Ra, the god of sun. Lee Yong-hak goes and sit beside this guy. His name is Seo Yun-ho, who has the high-tier constellation, Ra, the god of sun. While the two of them were sitting peaceful, the co-leader of the Phoenix Guild, Kim Young-sik, who has a mythic-level constellation, Juke, the vermilion bird, comes and greets Seo Yun-ho. As he was about to talk to Seo Yun-ho, an employee of the Player Association stops him and tells him that he cannot scout player in the waiting area. But because of Kim Young-sik's position in the Phoenix Guild, the employee let him go. Young-sik then tells the employee to shut his mouth and let them talk quietly. Young-sik then offers Seo Yun-ho to join their guild. By hearing this offer, Seo Yun-ho gets surprised, but he agrees to the offer and goes with Young-sik. Lee Yong-hak finds Young-sik as greedy as before, and he feels that something bad will happen. If it was normal like before, Lee Ji-yoon would have died today, but it's different now, as Lee Ji-yoon is still alive. Lee Yong-hak takes the exam and passed easily. He is then given his player card and a pamphlet. As Lee Yong-hak walks out of the building, he reads the contents in the pamphlet and sees the name of Phoenix Guild. The Phoenix Guild has built new stimulations and invites the new players to try out the new stimulation, and the in charge of this event will be Lee Ji-yoon. But to apply for this event, there are some requirements. Players must not be a member of any guild. Registered player is a must. If the conditions are met, the other requirements are 1. Have a contract with a mythic-level constellation or higher 2. Have a contract with a hero-type constellation or has fire-related skill 3. Pass the player exam in less than a month with an average skill score of E or higher. By seeing these conditions, Lee Yong-hak gets shocked because in his current state he won't be able to apply. To get his states higher, he goes to the Andromalius Warren dungeon. He must complete the dungeon twice to get the states according to the requirements. But Lee Yong-hak wants to show himself someone who has great potential, so he decides to complete the dungeon thrice. He has to clear the dungeon 3 times in 4 days, as Phoenix Guild event will be held on that day. Lee Yong-hak then goes inside the dungeon, and by using a shortcut, he teleports in front of the Goblin Colony, which is a secret room. By seeing him, all the goblins jumps at him, and he uses his firepower to burn all the goblins to ashes. A day later, his health and magic has risen to E, and he has collected quite a number of magic stones. After putting all the magic stones on a bag, he decides to leave as he has been killing goblins for a whole day. As he gets out of the secret room, he comes face to face with Lee Ji-yoon. As Lee Ji-yoon calls out his name, he quickly rushed says that she got the wrong person. As she was about to chase him, the co-leader asked what she is doing. She requests the co-leader to wait for Bit, but the co-leader tells her that they should go quickly or else their boss will get mad. Lee Yong-hak quickly comes out of the dungeon and gets scared if he has been caught by Lee Ji-yoon. Then a few days later at the Phoenix Guild event, many new players has gathered there. Lee Yong-hak is also present. At first, Lee Ji-yoon starts to demonstrate their new stimulation. She actives the machine, and Gargoyle appears. The Gargoyle attacks her, but she swiftly dodges the attacks. By seeing this Lee Yong-hak, that Lee Ji-yoon has better senses than he assumed. Lee Ji-yoon blocks the Gargoyle attack with her sword and counterattack. She jumps high in the air and slashed the Gargoyle from the middle. Lee Yong-hak thinks she will be a hero-level player in the future, as her constellation is Chukjun-gyeong, which is a hero-level constellation. After that, Lee Ji-yoon sees Lee Yong-hak, and after seeing his level, Lee Ji-yoon thinks it was strange because she was pretty sure Lee Yong-hak was only a porter, and it has been only 4 days since he registered as a player. Lee Ji-yoon wonders how in the world did Lee Yong-hak raised all his average stats to level E within mere 4 days. Then Lee Ji-yoon recalls all the past events which occurred with her while meeting Lee Yong-hak. About how he explained things to her which doesn't even make sense, that he decided to hunt some goblins so that he can pay his rent. But well, he kinda lost track and just defeated them one by one, unknowingly. And he learned that when he was a porter. Lee Yong-hak acted strangely by running away in front of Lee Ji-yoon, saying she got the wrong person, and he was not the person whom she was looking for. When Lee Ji-yoon chased him, she noticed some crops burning on the alley, and thought that he just might be a talented player. At present, Lee Ji-yoon asked Lee Yong-hak how many would she set up for him. Lee Yong-hak replied that only 3 would suffice. Lee Ji-yoon asked him again by laughing why 3 not 30 or more, as she thought he would be able to defeat him. But seeing how Lee Yong-hak is struggling with 3 goblin, she understands that she expected too much from him. Lee Yong-hak trained for a long time and sees that Lee Ji-yoon is still training. The team leader Lee Ji-yoon topples over the ground while training, and Lee Yong-hak shouts at her saying that the way she is doing the thing is the wrong method. Lee Yong-hak advised his team leader to focus more on your waist movement rather than her legs, and also that her strides are long, so taking just half a step is fine. The team leader says in a rude manner that who is he to give her some advice? He is not even a high ranker and he can barely defeat 3 goblin. Then Lee Yong-hak runs away, making an excuse as he has some business to attend. At night, at team leader's house, she is in a bad mood while thinking how annoying Lee Yong-hak is, as he is just a newbie player, but she thinks of giving his advice a shot. While trying his advice, she is surprised that she succeeded in mastering 5 out of 7 steps. She thinks how Lee Yong-hak knows all of this. Lee Yong-hak enters Andromalius's warren, spawned in the secret room, goblin colony, to train so that he can be the teacher of Lee Ji-hun. He defeats all the goblin with one move using fire technique, burning every single one of them to ashes. Lee Yong-hak says that it has been a long time since he met Zhang Zia, and many message pops up like the Constellation, an angler who seeks time. Noticed you, the Constellation. An angler who seeks time is now watching you. The test has begun, and lastly, prove yourself to the Holy Throne. Lee Yong-hak runs over the bridge while burning the goblin who are chasing him. Another message comes into view that the tyrant of the lake suddenly awakes from a long slumber. Lee Yong-hak burns the tyrants using his fire and successfully catches the tyrant of the lake. As a result, his strength, agility, and magic increases to level E. Lee Yong-hak doesn't thought he would level up this fast, but he also knows that things will get harder from now on. As he reaches in front of a door, some bunch of notifications arrive, such as, "You've successfully made a contract with the Constellation, an angler who seeks time, Zhang Ziyi." And now he has the access to the abilities of the Constellation. A special contract has also been found, and Lee Yong-hak is told to choose the following contracts. 1. Full Dominance. 2. Supreme Art of Taegong. 3. Vengeance, no turning back. After that, Lee Yong-hak chooses number 2, and a message appears which says Lee Yong-hak has successfully received the power of Supreme Art of Taegong. The details of the Supreme Art of Taegong also appears. It says that from the origins of the historic angler Zhang Ziyi, Taegong. His fishhook can dangle 3 feet away from the water surface. After that, Lee Yong-hak decides to return to home. We can see that Lee Yong-hak has 2 constellations, the forever emerging fire, an angler who seeks time. His basic skills has been risen to E, and he also gets 2 special contracts. After that, in the association building, the sparring between Team 2 and Team 3 leaders has started. Team 3 leader Lee Ji-yoon faces off with Team 2 leader. The battle was over in a blink of an eye with a victory of Team 2, leader Lee Ji-yoon. As the spar finishes, she rushes to the exit thinking, how does Lee Young-hak knows about an ancient martial art that no one knows about? She also gets curious to know what kind of a person Lee Young-hak is. She gives a message to Lee Young-hak for meeting with her as she wants to learn more about this martial art as quickly as possible. Also, she is in need for a teacher as fast as possible. But as she sees the message of Lee Young-hak, she gets surprised as Lee Young-hak rejects to meet her. As Lee Ji-yoon didn't message anything, Lee Young-hak laughs at this to see Lee Ji-yoon gets pissed off. While he is laughing, a man passes him bundles of money. The man said to him that for all the magic stones he will give Lee Young-hak a total of 33.27 million won. As Lee Young-hak is about to take his money, the bald man says to Lee Young-hak that he is a talented customer, and from the amount of magic stones it seems like Lee Young-hak has killed all the goblins. Lee Young-hak gives an angry look and said that he did something like that. The bald man then said that he is not asking this with any other alternative motive, but rather, he finds it a bit weird that how much Lee Young-hak makes only by defeating goblins. The bald man also said to Lee Young-hak that it should be good for him to an auction house. Lee Young-hak replies that he understands his curiosity and asked why he thinks that way. The bald man replied that he also didn't know the reason, but he feels like it to say it, and so he said it. The man then gives Lee Young-hak an auction consultant card and said that if he wanted an invitation, he should contact the auction consultant. Lee Young-hak takes the card, but he didn't know anything about auctions as he has never participated in one. Lee Young-hak then puts the card in the pocket as he is not interested in it, but he also thinks to visit the auction for once. Then on the next day morning, we can see Lee Young-hak has gone to the Phoenix Guild Training Center. While he is making a coffee, he sees Lee Ji-yoon training. He knows who curious Lee Ji-yoon is to know how he know about the secret technique. Lee Ji-yoon didn't go to Lee Young-hak and asked anything because of all the persons watching her. Lee Young-hak also didn't give a crap and takes a sword to train. As he is about to start the stimulation device, Lee Ji-yoon starts to train loudly. She does it intentionally so that Lee Young-hak notices her and comes to talk to her. Lee Young-hak understands this, and he directly asked her if she need anything from him. Lee Ji-yoon acts like she is clueless and said to Lee Young-hak that what he is talking about. Lee Young-hak gets that she is toying with him, so to give her a little surprise, he tells her that he will not be attending this lesson from tomorrow onwards. By hearing this, Lee Ji-yoon gets super shocked and starts to convince him to not leave the lesson while he is doing well. Lee Young-hak replies that he has to leave because he feels uncomfortable for someone. He then advises her that she should solely focus on her own training. By hearing this, Lee Ji-yoon gets confused. In the meantime, Lee Young-hak starts to walk out of the room. As he opens the gate, Lee Ji-yoon begs him to wait and admits that it was her fault. By seeing her begging, Lee Young-hak decides to stay. Then at the evening, we can see Lee Ji-yoon is resting as she makes her whole body sore from all the training. In that time, Lee Young-hak comes all dressed by nicely and takes a big. He tells Lee Ji-yoon to watch carefully. He then focuses all his powers and slashes the wooden sword. The slash makes a huge wind and hits Lee Ji-yoon. Lee Young-hak then asked Lee Ji-yoon that how would her constellation react if it sees her performing this. He also tells her that it will be hard for her to use this skill with a normal sword. Lee Young-hak then goes towards her and hand over the sword in his hand to her. After that, we can see Phoenix Guild co-leader Kim Young-sik. He gets angry when he heard the news that second team leader has been defeated by Lee Ji-yoon. He also gets shocked to see that in 1 month, Lee Ji-yoon has gotten this much stronger. He then tells his subordinate to investigate this. He then gets up from the chair and tells his subordinate to keep this case aside, and orders to tell him what he was telling before. The subordinate says that the item he is looking for is included in the auction, and as for the operational funds, he had already got permission from their investors, so there is nothing to worry about. By hearing this, Kim Young-sik praises his subordinate and says that if very thing goes according to the plan, the item will be in his hands. Then, after a few days in the auction, Lee Young-hak has also come to the auction wearing a black hoodie. As he entered the room, he checks for the Phoenix Guild and found them. He then takes his sit and looks the items listed for today's auction. While the auction starts, the first item is a bow, and it was sold for 7.8 million won. After that, one by one, items starts to get sold. A golden helmet, sword, armor, and the dungeon plant all get sold. The auction is coming to an end. The last item is only left to be auctioned. The last item is a magic item found in a Sweden dungeon. A total nightmare of the Norse mythology. The one who burned the whole world into ashes, the sword of that great Surtur of Muspelheim, the Leviathan. The starting bid for his sword is 1 billion won. By seeing the sword, the co-leader Kim Young-sik bid 500 billion won. As no one has bids anymore, the sword was sold for 500 billion won to Kim Young-sik. This is also the highest auction price in history. Lee Young-hak pity Kim Young-sik for throwing 500 billion for a sword that he thinks is perfect for him. After that, in the Phoenix Guild meeting, we can see co-leader Kim Young-sik yells at the leader by saying that he was the one who bought the sword from the auction, and now he is giving the sword to Seo Yoon-ho. Yoon Hyun-sung, the leader of the Phoenix Guild, said to Kim Young-sik that why did he buy the sword with 500 billion won? The leader also said that he is giving the sword to Seo Yoon-ho so that the efficiency of the guild increases. He also says that they had discussed with the investors and decided the Leviathan has a great potential and is beyond everyone else. And so they have decided to lend it to Seo Yoon-ho. A girl who was sitting there says, Seo Yoon-ho has a high-level constellation, so giving it to him will give him an opportunity to rise quickly as a ranker. Plus, it'll give the guild a little more recognition. Lastly, the leader tells Kim Young-sik not to worry, as another item will be there for him in the next auction. Kim Young-sik replied that he understands it, and after that he gets out of the room and goes to his chamber. At his chamber, he burst into anger and bad-mouthed on the administrators. Kim Young-sik is not a person who will not let this go easily. He thinks to make sure that Seo Yoon-ho's growth is beneficial for him. He then calls his subordinate Jong-soo and tells him to look for Seo Yoon-ho and find about his whereabouts, as he need to know what the leader is planning to do with Seo Yoon-ho. After that, in the leader's office, we can see Lee Ji-yoon is there talking with the leader. The leader tells her to teach Seo Yoon-ho. By hearing this, Lee Ji-yoon gets shocked and tells the leader that Seo Yoon-ho is under co-leader. The leader tells her that he believed that it's very absurd to move a newcomer to a team that is led by a high ranker. So moving him to her would be more reassuring. The leader also says that this will be best for the guild, as Lee Ji-yoon is also a potential player of the guild. Lee Ji-yoon gets a bit sad because she knew how narrow-minded Kim Young-sik is. The leader then said that for the time being, the 3 teams will take turns on the training program, so Lee Ji-yoon can take a break starting today. Lee Ji-yoon then requests the leader that if she can talk to Seo Yoon-ho later, as she thinks they need to talk about this decision. The leader agrees to her. Lee Ji-yoon then gets out of the room with a depressing face, as he just starts to learn from Lee Young-hak, but from now on she will not get the time to learn from him. She regrets that why she didn't directly ask Lee Young-hak from the start to teach her. As she's walking on the hallway, she meets with her teammates. Her teammates asked her what she talked about with the leader. She says that, starting today, this program will be on hold, as the teams will take turns doing the program. And so she will be stepping down starting tomorrow. She also tells them not worry, as the guild leader has assigned her a separate task. Then they cheer her by saying that the leader has entrusted her such a task. Beside this, Lee Young-hak is training. By seeing him, Lee Ji-yoon goes to him and says that today is her last day here. By hearing this, Lee Young-hak gets a bit confused and didn't say anything. They both stand facing each other in complete silence. After a while, Lee Ji-yoon goes away without saying a single word. As she goes away, Lee Young-hak starts to think what has happened to her. He gives pressure to his brain and remembers that there will be an incident involving with Kim Young-sik. The incident will occur tomorrow or the day after that. After that at night, we can see Lee Ji-yoon has gone to Kim Young-sik and said him that the leader has ordered that Seo Yoon-ho will be in her care for the time being. By hearing this, Kim Young-sik bursts into anger and shouts at the leader, calling him a bastard. After that, he tells Lee Ji-yoon to get out. As she gets out, Kim Young-sik takes out his phone from his pocket and calls somebody, and said something that if it is still there and blah blah. He then asks that person for a favor and says that he will take the Leviathan as soon as possible, as that sword belongs to him. On the next morning, we can see Seo Yoon-ho and Lee Ji-yoon meets each other. Seo Yoon-ho tells her that he is impressed by her performance on the last sparring session and it an honor for him to be able to train under her. By hearing this, Lee Ji-yoon tells him to stop all the over-complimenting. She then says him that she need to go soon since she have something to report to the guild leader. Before going, she says that she also heard that there's a gift that is waiting for him and asked if he already get it or not. Seo Yun-ho replied he didn't get it, and after that, he says bye to her as he will be receiving his gift. Seo Yun-ho then comes in front of a door, and as he sees that the door is open, by seeing this he feels suspicious. He then gets into the room and quickly turns on the light. As he turns on the light, he sees the co-leader is there. Kim Young-sik is stealing the Levantine sword. As he sees Seo Yun-ho, he bursts into anger and flame starts to come out of his wild body. Seo Yun-ho asked him that why is he here and why he's holding the Levantine. Kim Young-sik says that he saw him and throw flames at him. But the flames didn't do any damage to Seo Yun-ho. Kim Young-sik then rushes towards him and grabs Seo Yun-ho's neck and rise him up. Kim Young-sik also brings out the sword's true form. He then tightens his grip and says to Seo Yun-ho that he shouldn't scout him. After a while, Seo Yun-ho is unable to breathe and is about to lose his consciousness. The flames also starts to show its effects and burns Seo Yun-ho's clothes. As Seo Yun-ho is about to die at that time, Lee Ji-yoon comes from the roof and attacks Kim Young-sik. To dodge her attack, Kim Young-sik lets Seo Yun-ho go. As Seo Yun-ho falls on the floor, Lee Ji-yoon goes to him and asks if he is okay. By seeing Lee Ji-yoon, Kim Young-sik gets more furious and the intensity of the flames around him gets higher. The flames take a dragon form and Kim Young-sik gets ready to kill the both of them.